Okay, so now we're going to talk about what do you do if you want to, spawn something unique at the mission startup. Give players a little bit of an edge, maybe, or at least a unique role, maybe to your liberation scenario. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a jet on the carrier. We're going to put 2 jets on the carrier, actually. So I'm going to use this guy. This SU-34, I'm going to snap it to the deck. Make sure both of them snap to the deck, and then I'm going to round the Z digit to the next number up. On both of these guys. And then, let's see, what am I going to do here? I'm going to right-click on this, log classes to clipboard. I'm going to select both of the jets. I'm going to go Tools, Utilities, Batch, Replace. And I'm going to paste that logged class into this field. I'm going to erase whatever's in parentheses and hit Replace. And then cancel once it's done. It gave me an error there because I had something that didn't match the class name exactly, which is probably just a space afterward. So now these are placeholders for jets. So I'm going to call, I'm going to take this variable name, I'm going to copy it, I'm going to enter it in here, and I'm going to call this Freedom Jet 0. I'm going to call this one Freedom Jet 1. And then I'm going to go to my Blue4 preset, which is in the presets folder under Blue4. And I'm going to go to Custom. And I'm going to tell it that I've got a new vehicle to add at the start base. So I'm going to do that first by copying the little bird line and changing it to, I'm going to change the description to just these are the jets that spawn on the Freedom. I'm going to change this to Freedom Jet for continuity, and then I'm going to tab back into game. Slap this guy down again, log classes to clipboard, delete him because I don't need him, and I'm going to paste that class in here. So now I've created a variable which is defined as that vehicle, and this variable is going to be referenced by other scripts, and that other script lives in the scripts folder under server, and under base, under start vehicle spawn. Okay, so this controls who spawns at the beginning of the mission. So what I'm going to do here is I have the file open. I'm going to create a new file. This is where I'm going to edit my stuff. And I'm going to go back to the start vehicle spawn.sqf. In Sublime Text, it has a lot of handy functionality. What I'm going to do is I'm going to minimize line 24 by clicking the caret next to it. And now it's taken all that big paragraph of stuff and it's reduced it to 2 lines for me. I'm going to select those 2 lines. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to go into my untitled editing file and I'm going to paste it. And I'm going to give myself a little bit of headspace up top to paste some things. So what it's doing here is it's looking for an object that exists on the map already, and it's going to count each one of those, and then it's going to spawn something at them. So what it's going to spawn at them is, in this case, the boats. But what I want to do is I want to spawn the jets. So what I'm going to do is go back into game. I'm going to edit this guy, double clicking, and I'm going to grab just this part, not the number, not the numerical value. I'm going to tab back out. I'm going to see this string that says boat. My string is going to say freedom jet underscore, and I'm going to replace that. Now there's some other things that I need to replace, like this variable. I need to replace this with something unique. I can change this to, let's say I want to change this to just jet spawn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this. I'm going to hit Control H. It's going to automatically take that selection and throw it in the find portion. I'm going to highlight it again, copy it, paste it, and I'm going to change the word boat to jet. And I'm going to hit replace all. Cool. And now there's a couple more things that I need to replace. Like, let's see, I think this guy I want to replace. So I'm going to highlight him, hit Control H again, copy that line, paste it down below, change it to jet, replace all. Cool. And now that all looks good, except for one thing. It's still going to try and spawn the boat there. So even though we've told it to rename everything as jet and take jet and manipulate jet, it's still going to spawn a boat there. So to get around that, I'm going to go back to my custom .sqf. I'm going to take this jet class name, or I'm sorry, jet variable, whose class name we have defined as this SU34. I'm going to go back to my untitled document, and I'm going to replace the boat. And I'm going to take this line again. I can just click this caret, grab both of these, copy them, and at the bottom here, give myself just a little bit of room. I'm going to paste this in. And now we'll go into game and check if that worked. Okay, here we are in game, and we're going to go ahead and launch the scenario. And continue. Cool, everything's starting to populate on the deck. Ooh, there's one jet. Ooh, there's another jet. Ooh, oh, there he goes. Arma. Boom. Boom. Alright. So let's see what happened here. Obviously the exploding. Check to make sure everything's working. It's a little bit quieter here. Hope you can hear it over the explosions. But basically, if you watch that a little bit slower, or like pause it at some key moments, you'll see that the jets are spawning a little too high in the air, and they're like hitting the deck and bouncing up. So we need to change that. So I'm going to abort this. And I'm just going to stay here. I'm going to tab out, and let's see if we can figure out why is that doing that. So I'm going to read this stuff, and I already know what's going on. So I'm going to kind of cheat for you guys and tell you what's happening. So this line is going to create the vehicle, and it's going to create it at a position, an X position, a Y position, and a Z position. But it's also doing some math and giving us nearly 1/4 of a meter of clearance. We already intelligently built our own clearance in by just elevating the asset that we put in the editor, so we don't need this plus 0.2. In fact, what it's doing right there is it's putting the jet at such a height that it enables the physics engine to start tilting it at an angle, and then it's not going to land on the surfaces that we want, which are the wheels. So then something else hits the deck rather than a wheel. Arma says, what the fuck is going on? And its solution is to blow shit up. So we want to avoid that. We're going to go ahead and get rid of that plus 0.2 option in the third value of this get position array, this get set position array. And I'm going to go ahead and save that. I'm also looking at this, and you know what might be a good idea is that we change this. This is like a half a second sleep. Let's go to like 1.5 seconds here and just humor me. Maybe we enable simulation and then we turn the damage on. That way the aircraft falls, does whatever Arma has to do to figure out what's going on there. Give it 1.5 seconds, maybe that's enough time, and then it turns the damage back on. Let's see if that works. Let's go ahead and go and fire the missiles. Continue. You can see I'm on the Ghost Island right there. I loaded in faster than the scripts could execute on my machine. Most likely that's going to happen when you locally host because your machine's not going to be able to keep up. But on the server it shouldn't happen. Ooh, boom! Okay, I went flying. That's great. So it may be that these jets are not spawnable on the carrier. Let's see if we can figure that out. And this, my friends, is unfortunately just something that you are actually going to have to do while you're trying to figure out what assets you want to and or can put on the carrier. You're just going to have to do the trial and error, figure out, what makes it tick, why it's doing this. Maybe I should bump this up to like a whole 3.5 seconds per one of them. Maybe I go back into the editor and rather than having this spawn a little high, maybe I don't have it spawn high at all and I just snap it right to the deck. Usually, like what I like to do when I'm troubleshooting this stuff is I don't want to waste time trying one thing, checking it, trying another thing, check it. Although that's like tried and true and it's guaranteed for you to find the problem, I'm going to brute force try and find as many solutions at the first time as possible. And if all of them work great, if just one of them worked, I don't care. I don't care. I don't want to know what it was exactly. Oh my god. He's a cosmonaut. And... oh boy. So I'm going to end this video here and just say I'm going to end this video here and just say that those jets are not spawnable on the carrier. I have done it in the past. I've used the F-35, I've used the F-118, I've used jets from Firewheels, the Tomcats and stuff, and none of those jets do that. I don't know why this jet's doing that. Maybe there's a little bit too much air in the tires. Who knows? It's Arma. But that in a nutshell is how you add more things to the starting base spawn.